Martin Luther King once wrote, "No nation can long continue to flourish or to find its way to a better society while it allows any one of its citizens to be denied the right to vote or to participate in the most fundamental of privileges of democracy, the right to vote." Of course, Dr. King wrote this claim when he was fighting for a law to ensure the rights of all Americans, African Americans, to vote. But in this case, I am making the exception to allow prisoners the right to vote. And I believe that this particular quote supports my argument because MLK claims that no citizen should be denied to participate in their fundamental privilege of democracy, the right to vote, which also supports my why prisoners should not be taken their right to vote. It also helps. It also helps support how important it is for everyone to participate in voting by allowing prisoners to vote all across America. It will allow prisoners to be given the right to vote and allow prisoners to have a voice in our democracy. Although a few states have implemented and given prisoners the right to vote, it is important for every state to implement the right to vote for every citizen in prison. It is necessary for every citizen in prison to be given the right to vote. And according to Political Magazine, only 2 U.S. states allow prisoners to vote, which are Maine and Vermont. This means that many U.S. citizens in prison are not allowed the liberty to vote. By voting, prisoners would be able to have a voice in our democracy and a voice inside prison and out of prison. Also, according to prison policy, there are 1 to 2 million people in prison, which most of them are not given the right to vote. The feeling of not being able to have a voice when it comes to voting may seem very discouraging to many prisoners to rehabilitate and to re-enter society. And according to the Inquirer.com, banning prisoners from voting disenfranchises them as citizens. And according to the Atlantic.com, voting would also help people in prison feel connected to society and value community. As we can see, something has to and needs to change about the current situation with not allowing prisoners the right to vote, because we need to give the prisoners a voice behind bars. Now that I have given and talked about the need for prisoners' rights, voting rights, I will now move on to talk about the best solution to deal with voting rights for prisoners across the United States. The right to vote shall not be taken away from American citizens in prison. Most of you might know what it's like when you vote, but some prisoners don't know what it's like because they have either never voted, or they were stripped from that right to vote. And a lot of people fear it's a bad idea to allow prisoners to vote because they might not be educated on how the civil process works, or how to vote, and also who to vote for. But that's an easy fix, or it's an easy way to think about, because if the true goal of prisons is to rehabilitate prisoners to be able to re-enter society, then they should teach them about how voting works and what to look in a candidate when they vote. Another suggestion is taking it to the courts, because taking away their right to is in violation of their First Amendment, which is their freedom of speech, and their Eighth Amendment, which prevents the government from imposing cruel and unusual punishments on criminal defendants. If we can help fix this, we will allow prisoners to be able to have a voice in our democratic process. I believe we will also allow prisoners to vote they will be able to re-enter society as a better human being than how they were when they were locked up. Not only will it make their lives easier to re-enter society, but it will allow more people to participate in the voting process. Well, now that you are aware of a way to change this problem, now put yourself in that situation of being taken away from your voting rights and not being able to have a voice in our and how our government is run, and also picture yourself in prison and not being able to vote for someone or something that you may or may not have an interest or believe in. But now imagine yourself in the same circumstance, and but now you can vote, and just like the prisoners in Maine and Vermont, being able to vote. Uh, Picture how great it would be. It would better the lives of prisoners in the United States if they were given the right to vote. And to summarize, many people do not have the ability to vote, especially prisoners. If they were allowed to vote, it won't just increase the number of people who vote in the US, it would help prisoners re enter society and also their voices heard. I call on each and every one of you to sign this petition to help prisoners have a voice in our democracy. And one last quote I will like to leave everyone off with is by former President Lyndon B. Johnson. A man without a vote is a man without protection. Thank you.